Go. We're fine.
We are live. I'm here with my best friend Sid. How you doing, Sid?
Best friend. I'm doing okay. I was a little ugly like a few days ago, but and then on top of that, you putting brownies before me was not cool. But you know,
can you smell them?
Yeah, and I know. Like the picture you sent me was just amazing. Like it was incredible.
Instagram ready.
Yeah, I know. He was a great photographer, like straight from Instagram. Love it. He even had time to copyright it as well. So,
well, it was literally like my wife's like, okay, how much time before your next interview? Because we've got 3 today. And I said half an hour. She's like, okay, so you can make brownies, just whatever. So I was like, is this a reality show? Like, you know, those baking shows where like, and your time starts now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like they're so intense. They're so intense. Like you're thinking, oh, 4 hours is a tremendous amount of time. And then all of a sudden, like they're down to like what, 30 seconds and they still haven't put stuff on the plate. And so
it's ridiculous. This is the stress. And I went to pastry school actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How was that? What was that like?
It was very, very difficult because why? Because it was in French, and my French is not that great. And
I thought you live in Canada.
Yeah, but
this is criminal.
I'm Anglo. Okay.
And here you are doing the head bobbing of Indians. I'm very disappointed.
This is the Quebecois head bob. The Quebecois, don't confuse the Quebecois head bob with the Indian head bob. Yeah. But you know, in the kitchen, imagine how many little items there are, instruments and little special spoons and the spatulas and all these different implements for pastry making. Imagine that list of vocabulary in your second language, having to get familiar with that. That's a pain. That's a pain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I only think you would have to list all the ingredients and like, you know.
Yeah.
And plus, growing up in a time where you didn't have Google Translate now, so yeah,
that's your boomer joke.
Well, I mean, like that was my I don't know, like that. Google Translate is my knight in shining armor when it comes to interpretations.
Oh yeah,
yeah, just like you know, some guy online is cussing me out in Spanish or something, and then meanwhile I'm just here like. Okay, what's a good insult I can give back? And I'm not great at like giving back insult either. So
do you do what do they call it?
Head bob.
No.
Okay. I can't do it. I like legit. I haven't gotten that habit, so it's just I don't know.
Gina. Anyway, I won't go down that path today. The Hindi.
No, that's fine. Honestly, yeah. You were saying. I'm sorry. Do you do the
Hindi what? Hindi for beginners? Do you participate in all the flame wars? What do they call these? Like
Diwali.
When people no on the internet when people are like being nasty to each other. What do they call it? What do the kids call that today? Flame wars. They used to call it.
I think they still call it. I think they still call it flaming. You just call it arguments or.
Shit posting. Shit posting. You heard about that?
Yeah, I think that's probably what it's called. I don't. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm not.
You're not part of the cool crowd?
No, I was never part of the cool crowd. You've seen my hair.
Have you ever actually tasted a brownie, or you just look over at the cool kids eating the brownies?
I've made brownies before, so you know.
Okay.
Yeah, so like. Mom's birthday and stuff,
I put roasted nuts and chocolate chips and a little bit of coffee. Just a little bit of coffee.
That wasn't in the picture.
I know.
I hate nuts.
Secret ingredient.
I'm not a fan of nuts. So make of that what you will.
Oh.
Yeah.
So listen. Speaking of nuts, I sent you a nuts big long list of dogmas, and
I saw that.
You were like pulling your hair and.
Yeah. First of all, there was an emphasis on like you know just for you viewers out here. This is the email he sent me. Just to get you started, here are, he hasn't highlighted this, but he said, here are some meaning few or a little. And this list goes down.
They're numbered, though. They are numbered, though.
426. Oh my gosh.
They're numbered for your convenience. So you can say, well, I want to talk about 38. Let's do dogma bingo. So what is number 38? Read me number 38 because I don't have them memorized. I'm not crazy.
No, I would have thought like you had another list. Considering I don't think you were crazy enough to type this all by hand. Or were you?
No.
Oh, thank God. All right.
No, I said Siri. Take note of what I'm saying now, and I just listed them. No, I'm kidding.
Just
dictated.
Like Paul or Peter to like one of their scribes, just like, this is my words. You shall.
These are my dogmas.
These are repeating the dogmas that are already part of the church, but I'm trying to recall them from memory, but I'm too lazy to put them down to paper.
That's a good challenge. Challenge accepted. I'm going to memorize the list for you.
You're going to memorize the entire list?
Yeah, if you shave your head. I will memorize the list if you shave your head. That's the deal. No, you don't have to shave your head. I'll try to memorize it for fun.
I don't know if that's I don't know if that's like a worth it deal. I already shaved my
Why did you shave your head? Because Mom, because I wanted David to memorize the 426 dogmas. Duh.
I can't imagine me just coming home like one day from work with a shiny dome of with a shiny dome on top of this, and then my mom they're like, what have you done? Anyways, God's divine will is infinite. That's number 38.
Wow, that's cool. Pick a random number just for fun. Don't look at the list. Just pick a number.
Negative 37.
No, come on. Play by the rules.
All right. Wait.
You feeling lucky? You got any dice around there or anything?
Yeah, there's 300 calories per bottle. So let's go with that. 300.
Okay.
Let's see. Baptism effects the remission of all punishments of sin, both the eternal and the temporal.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Have you been baptized?
I have.
We talked about this. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a couple of years ago.
No, it was just last week we talked about it.
Yeah. I was talking about like baptism, but fun. All right, great. Yeah, I have, but I accepted Christ, but this was before like I started exposing myself to other cultures and other names. It was just it felt kind of rushed. I'm sure in hopefully like a few months, once I've built up that ground that I've lost and help push myself to find my way back, I'll get baptized again, like the proper
No,
way.
you can't. You can't.
Yeah.
Depending on what was the church that baptized you?
It was like an apostolic church. It was a non-denominational church, but it was back in UAE. So I took a trip back just to visit them, and I said I accept it, and then
Do you remember the words that the minister said? Did he say, "I baptize you in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit"? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that's valid. That's a valid baptism. So you cannot get baptized again. Period.
Right.
And he used pure water. He sprinkled you 3 times with pure water.
Well, he put it was just done in a swimming pool. So.
But did he dunk you 3 times?
It was just a one-time dunk. I didn't know there was a 3-time thing. Again, I'm not. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's valid, but I'm not sure about the form if he did it properly. But
was there a mention of like 3 times in the Bible? Like I'm just.
I don't think so. But
3 dunks in the Bible.
I could look it up. I'm not going to look it up now because it's just too dry. But ironically, it's dry. We're talking about dunking you in water, but it's a dry topic. But you were, whether you like it or not, if it was a valid baptism, I believe it was. If it was a but you'd have to check. Yeah. But if it was a valid baptism, then you were all of the temporal punishments due to your sin and the eternal punishments due to your sin were wiped away. So you need to get into the Christian religion and find out so that you can appreciate what you got in that baptism. If,
Right.
and I'm assuming it was, if it was a valid baptism. It's amazing, 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 amazing. And you're not excited about it because you don't really know if Christianity is true, right? You're not sure?
Well, I mean, it's not about like, whether Christianity is true. It's just like, I've still got I'm still like I'm almost like I'm almost at the finish line. I just need to. It'll just take me like it'll take me time to lean over. Like I'm still trying to read. I'm still I'm convinced of I'm convinced of everything that I've been reading. Like, whether I'm reading the histories or like behind it and like the evidences, pretty they're pretty hard to dispute. So and then along with that, there are there's just the like I said, I've always lived a life as as a deist, but and I guess my entire I don't really know how to put it into words, but I'm hoping you can understand where I'm coming from. So
Yeah. I feel the struggle to articulate that you're kind of there but not quite there, and the missing ingredient.
It's just the leap of faith, finally.
Yeah, it's a commitment. It's a commitment. And what's your experience with romantic love, if you don't mind my asking, just without going into detail, obviously?
I got into a relationship with it was actually with a Mormon girl. It did not I regret it heavily because, first of all, it put an end to our friendship of like 8 months. We dated for a week. If you saw us, honestly, if you saw us walking by, you would have thought, okay, they're a happy couple. Like you would never have thought that there would be
trouble in paradise.
Right. That's one way of putting it, but yeah, sure. So yeah, then she turned out to be like less endearing because she was like, I read my patriarchal blessing and I prayed and everything's like all the signs are telling me no, so that's what I'm going with. And I've had similar doubts. Like I guess I had been praying about it and I've not been getting the ghost sign, mostly because it was just a rush of never having experienced a relationship before. So that was, it was more like on my end, I guess on both of our ends, it was more rushed, but for me, it was just a need or a desire that wasn't fulfilled. And that's where I went wrong. So.
Yeah. Well, you're young, and I mean, get sick of me saying that too. But if and when you meet the one, like this woman, like, oh my God, she's the one, and it's so amazing. Even though this is a hypothetical future scenario for you, okay? So even though it's like you want her, you need her, you can't live without her, she completes you, etc., etc. Even though all that, in your heart of hearts, it's go time, like you said, it's a go. You prayed about it, everyone loves her, you love her. Okay, even with all that, you're gonna have a fear of making the leap. Okay, so it's the same thing with religion. It's the same thing with religion. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So what is it about? It's just about letting go. It's just about having faith and not trying to control, not being worried that you look like a fool because she weighs 400 pounds. Don't worry about that. I'm kidding, of course.
A few pounds off. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Yeah.
No, but seriously, I mean, you should try to marry someone who's healthy and takes care of themselves. That's obvious. But if you do fall in love with someone who's morbidly obese, that's fine too. Whatever. To each his own.
Or not. These are his words, not These are his words, not mine.
Anyway,
it's all his channel.
Show this to her though on your wedding night. Show this to her.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, oh my God, David predicted I would marry a 400-pound woman. How did he know? And show her the video. It's very romantic. It's very romantic. And she'll say, "But honey, why you have hair? Why you had hair back then? Why you had hair?
Why would you say?
I like the shiny dome better. Don't grow the hair. No, don't grow the hair. Give me that chicken leg now. Pass it over to me. I can't reach it with my little arms." Okay, I'll stop.
Father, save us all. No, I'm okay. I think it's hilarious. Why are we assuming she's Indian though?
Oh, I'm sorry. Because I'm a racist and I'm a waitist.
Because you're a typical white privileged.
Typical.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Boomer.
Like that. Oh yeah, boomer too. Yeah. Don't forget that.
So anyway, why were we talking about this? We're talking about this because, not because I'm an award-winning comedian. That's completely beside the point. It's because.
What did I sign up for?
With religion, you do have to have the courage to let go and to not be in control and to just launch into the mystery. Because that's what it is. God is a mystery, but so is a woman. I'm trying to think now of a name for your future wife, but I won't bother.
Oh, boy. Oh my
no,
gosh.
But it is.
Actually, no. I want to hear some guesses. Go for it.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. A pretty name.
Really be through the roof. If that.
You want to see if I can nail the name? Like if I can get the name?
Like if you're gonna get like, or even like 3 names, and it still turns out to be a 400-pound woman.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all like the trifecta of love. Pavarti, is that a good name? Parvati,
yeah.
Parvati. Is that a good name?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm not confident I'll find any Catholic or Christian names with Parvati, but okay. Anyways.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, Catherine. Catherine. No, too stodgy. That's too stodgy.
We are veering.
We're veering a lot, but I'll tell you in all seriousness. My favorite names for women.
Mm-hmm.
Anna. I married an Anna.
Okay,
but she was my favorite name anyway.
Okay.
Second favorite name. Rachel. Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca. No, you're not feeling it.
No, I mean they're fine names. They're just, I guess, overheard or
they're
overused.
Old Testament names, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rebecca with K, and then Rachel. And then Rachel was the complaining type. Rebecca deceived Isaac. So I don't know. Might not cut this.
They all have some baggage. These names.
Might not cut this along. There wasn't an Anna in the Old Testament, was
Sure, there was. Sure.
I mean, there probably was, but not one that's coming to mind.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Like not one that was like set apart or like put like.
There was Hannah. There was a Hannah. You remember Hannah?
And she was a favorite wife of Elkanah, so there's that. Yeah.
She had her child.
Samuel is actually my middle name. That's. Are you talking about Samuel, or are we talking about someone else?
We're talking about Samuel's mother, right?
Yeah.
And she promised to give him away to the high priest, and all that.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who was the high priest there?
It was Eli.
And
he had his 2 sons, Hophni and Phinehas, and who were evil men. Yeah. Gosh, Bible trivia. Let's go. All right. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say my middle name was actually Samuel because my mother, So my mother, before I was born, and like between the time my sister was born, but between the time I was born, she had she was expecting again, but then she suffered a miscarriage, and so that really shook her. And so then she says, and then she makes a prayer to God that, she'll set apart, and she'll call him Samuel, like she'll set apart her next child. And that was me.
Cute.
I don't think it was on her wish list to have me be a deist, but it's.
Well, I mean, that's just a phase.
Yeah, I'm not willing to say that way, of course.
That's a phase. It's just a phase.
Yeah, I know. I'm just hoping, like because I read a lot about, Christians who lost their faith. Like they were like, and they were very, and they were very active in their religion, like whether it was their church or their gatherings, and then I start and then they tell me that they came out the other side as an atheist. There's a Christian there's a person by the name of Derek Lambert. Have you heard of him? He runs a channel called Myth Vision. So he is an atheist. He said he grew up a fundamentalist Christian where it was a very charismatic church where they prayed in tongues and like they were very spiritual and religious. And over 30 years or something, he was pretty he was pretty grounded in his faith as well. So it felt kind of odd that someone like him would eventually come out the other side as an atheist, or like just not believing at all. So I don't know. That was just my thing. Also, I wanted to ask. I guess this leads me to my next question, like concerning baptism, because you said once there's a valid baptism, you can't get baptized again. But what if along the way, after you get baptized, you lose your faith?
Well, I mean, what are you asking? If there's a sacrament to help with that?
So I'm assuming baptism is one of the is it called a sacrament, or like one of the works that
it's one of the 7 sacraments? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what are the did you put the sacraments in here? Like I know there are 7 of them. I just forgot.
They're in there somewhere. Yeah, if you have a search function, you can search for baptism. Yeah. Actually, the by chance, the one you picked from 300 calorie soft drink, by chance, it came up for you, the baptism.
Okay, there are 7 sacraments of the new law, 281, that are necessary. The primary is God-man, sacrament, validity and efficacy. Okay, I'm just going to search it up. Let's see.
So you see, it's a dogma of the church that there are 7.
Yeah, I've seen that. I just don't know. I just forgot what they were. Okay, baptism, reconciliation of penance, the Eucharist, the matrimony, all love comes from God. Let's see. Anointing of the sick, holy orders. Yeah. Okay. So that seems to be what it is.
You'll probably get confirmed, have confirmation, right, at some point.
Mm-hmm. I think. Well, I'm not sure of this. This is a new topic to me. I'm guessing so the Eucharist is where they receive the body and blood of Christ. Reconciliation is where we
confess our sins.
Confess your sins. Okay, holy order.
Priesthood.
Exercise priesthood. Okay, so what? So what is that? Oh gosh, like what does that consist of? There we go.
Which one?
The holy orders, I guess. Like
it's the Christian church is an apostolic church, meaning that Christ built his church on Peter and the apostles, and their successors, and there's a laying on of hands all the way down to your local bishop. He had hands laid on him by someone that had hands laid on him by etc., back to Peter.
Passed down from generations.
Yeah, all the way back to St. Peter. So it's that unbroken lineage, and it's the special charism of infallibility that the church enjoys through the bishops. It's the teaching office is the bishops.
Right.
And they are the ordinary authority for every parish and for every church and every local church. So, it's all about the bishops.
would we see like would we be interpreting Matthew 16, or like the passage in Matthew 16 where Jesus says he builds his church upon the rock, which is Peter? Like, would we see that as foreshadowing a papacy, or like
it's not? It's not foreshadowing it. It's like the sort of the prime example of it, the source and summit of the papacy, right there. It's like that's the ultimate reality. When I think of Pope Francis, for example, I mystically see Peter in him.
Right.
And this is throughout the history of the church. You'll see the saints talking about Peter, and like why do they keep talking about Peter? There's no Peter. The Pope's name's not Peter, and no Pope has ever taken the name Peter, by the way, because of that reverence and that respect.
I've actually noticed that, because he was considered the first Pope of the Catholic Church, and then yeah.
So everyone else we can have like
John, Francis, and then I'm blanking out on them, but there's been so many, and then John Paul, and I don't know.
There are a lot of Piuses too, like Pius, the
I've
first,
seen
second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way up to the whatever 12th.
I don't know, 366th.
One for each dogma.
Right, I see that.
Let's play Pope Bingo. Pick a number.
Bingo now. We'll find Pope Francis on this long list in this nice big bibliothèque of stuff. Look, bibliothèque, French word.
There you go.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. See, maybe your pastry class won't be that bad anymore.
Thanks to you, my friend. Oh, I got to phone my friend Sid. What is a spatula in French again?
What's a spatula?
Spatule.
Oh, good gosh.
Have you seen?
You live in Canada, though. Like, I thought, there's always, at least when I went, there was, they always had like a little French, statement under like each signboard.
Translation,
yeah, translation. That can't think today. All right, but yeah, I guess I want to know how all this appealed to you, especially coming from from like a hardcore atheist mindset, and then having to give that up to commit to
to give up the riches of atheism. Oh, how difficult.
Oh no, but like to go as far as to commit to the Catholic Church as well is like
yeah. It's
by itself, it's a pretty huge step. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I'll give you the really short version, and I think I may have attempted to tell this to you before when you were in your car with your cell phone. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're not going to talk about those again. We shall not.
That was fun, though. That was fun. That was that was like when I go to the swimming pool and I just dip my toe into the water. Oh, it's too cold. And I just...
Yeah. No. I was like, I had like a couple of friends had a pool party like just yesterday, and I just sat by. I just felt like the old parent who was like, okay, you kids enjoy your fun, I'm just gonna sit here and read a book instead.
Read the Bible, the Catechism of the Catholic Church.
Just like he's giving me this long list of dogmas. I can't,
no time for swimming. No time for swimming. Swimming's not on this list, boys. It's not on the list.
Then they all got on. I was like, okay, I'm going to take a dip. And then I put like one little toe in. I'm like, okay, no, we're done here.
And now the irony is they're all happily married with children and you're still single. So like you should have gone swimming, man. With the cool kids.
I feel humbled by that.
You'd literally be eating brownies now. Your wife, Bertha, or whatever her name is, would come in with the tray.
We went down the long list of like Rachel, Rebecca, and Anna.
I settled on Bertha. While you were talking, I was nodding and smiling, but I was really thinking of what is her name? Like,
okay, it's gonna be
Big Bertha. BB. BB for short. BB.
BB for short. Yeah. Okay. It's like Big Bertha.
Hey, BB, shut the fridge door. Shut the fridge door. I'm kidding.
Big Bertha or BB, do you take this man to be your lawfully married husband? And then till death you.
What? This little guy? This little guy here?
The ring doesn't fit. What do I do? Oh man,
Don't worry about. Is this edible ring? Just kidding. I shouldn't be. I shouldn't make these jokes. I shouldn't make jokes like
we're
this.
gonna get canceled.
We're gonna get canceled. But
Okay.
we're talking about my transition from hardcore atheist to
Mm-hmm.
okay.
To
It's
Catholicism.
very simple. It's very simple. It all happened very quickly. I realized that I'm not God, that God is God, and it was like what a relief. What a relief to know that I'm not God, that God is God.
How did
And
you how did you conclude
through
that?
philosophy, I was reading lots and lots of philosophy all the time for years and years and years and
Uh,
years.
but didn't you say philosophy was what got you away from God in the first place?
No, puberty got me away from God because I hit
I know, but
puberty.
then you said you started reading more philosophy
Yeah,
and
I started reading philosophy early, like as a teenager, and
Mhm.
it's been a
Yeah.
lifelong hobby on and
Mhm.
off, on and off.
Right.
But later in life,
Any
in my
favorite
30s, I
ones?
got into it. Huh?
Any favorite
Yeah,
philosophers you
of
have?
course. My
Mhm.
top favorite, number one, is Socrates.
Socrates, right?
Ah, love
Mhm.
him.
I
I mean, I would
remember.
have to put Saint Augustine number one, really, because
Saint
he's the one that
Augustine.
converted me. Once I found God through Rene Descartes, who borrowed a lot of
Mhm. Mhm.
the ideas that I got from Rene Descartes came from Saint Augustine,
Mind
and so
body
I became a
dualism.
monotheist because of because ultimately because of Saint Augustine, but because of Rene Descartes, and
Right.
then because I was stuck in hard solipsism where I thought I was literally the only being.
Mhm. Yeah, like in terms of consciousness, or like in terms of just.
Absolute reality, like you do not
Yeah.
exist.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I've heard of that.
So I became a monotheist, and then I became a Christian because of the Confessions of Saint Augustine, which I had just happened to have
Mm-hmm.
found. It was a
What plans to
long
fun,
story. It was a long story, but I
right?
found this book
Mm-hmm.
and I read it, and I realized that yeah, okay, Christianity is not evil like I thought it was
Mm-hmm.
evil,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's not stupid the way I thought it was stupid as an
Yeah.
atheist, and
Mm-hmm.
so I became a Christian, and then. I had read enough about I'd read lots of anti-Catholic stuff during my
Right.
readings over my adult life.
What
But
kind
when
of
I read,
stuff I guess
well,
appeal to you the most?
which kind of anti-Catholic stuff appealed to me?
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
just the corruption, pointing out the corruption.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Okay. All right.
the
Fair.
abuse of privilege, the abuse
Right.
of
Yeah.
power, the abuse of children, the abuse of
Mhm.
everything.
Right.
And so that's just an easy stick to wield against the church. It's like, oh, look, corruption.
Right.
And, it's just, now I just laugh at that because it's like
Mm-hmm.
there's that
Of
baby
course.
bathwater distinction. Like, okay,
Sure.
we
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
all know corruption is evil. That's why they call it
Mm-hmm.
corruption, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like anything else when it's corrupted. It's something only something good gets corrupted because
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
ontologically
Mm-hmm.
everything that is to the extent that
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Like, what is evil
Evil has no substance.
if not just corrupted good?
Yeah, it's a privation
That's
of the
like
good.
that was like a metaphysical element you could. I remember there was this category, or not category. Sorry, there was this challenge posed by Stephen Law um, concerning the fact that God is all evil. Like, if he can so his motion was that if God if we're supposed to suggest that this omniscient, omnipotent being is all good, then we can also conclude, or like we can also suggest that he is all evil as well, which doesn't, which I used to think was like, interesting. This is a fair argument, but it's not a very well thought out one because there's actually, like as I read, I found out that there were two types of ways you can distinguish this. There was the I actually mentioned this in like my speech in class. Like I put this like near the end. So there's the epistemic side, and then there's the metaphysical side. So with the metaphysical, or is it the I forget, but with the metaphysical one, it's literally just a privation of is literally just a privation of good, or like just corrupted good. That is so. Good cannot like evil cannot exist without there being good first. Like if there was no if moral evil was the standard, if moral evil was the standard instead of moral good, then there would be absolutely nothing wrong. This world would just be another dystopia. This world would be in complete chaos. And then you have because everyone would be so selfish. Like there was no Because if good is the societal, reject, then this kind of puts this point into jeopardy, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making sense here. And then there's the other concept, which is I think the epistemic one, which is where there is just all evil, or literally there is just all evil. Now the point is that if God is literally all evil, then he would have to be maximal in all of his qualities, not just arbitrary. He would have to be completely maximal in such. So he can't. So he would have to be incredibly selfish. He'd have to be the most selfish being in the world. That being said, if he was the most selfish being in the world, he would be the only being in the world, because he and all of his in his hard solipsism wouldn't bother creating another being.
Interesting.
So
how old were you at that time?
I'm sorry?
Was this recently?
This was recently, yeah. I've started diving into philosophy a lot more, so it's just actually bringing me back to, a Christian viewpoint. Inspiring philosophy has been a huge help. There have been, I'm reading more of Thomas Aquinas, Immanuel Kant also a little bit. Jordan Peterson dives into a fair bit of philosophy too. And talking about Nietzsche and Dostoevsky, where literally I just watched a video of where he talked about Crime and Punishment, and this and the main character performed the perfect moral, the perfect moral murder, I guess. He had all reason to murder her, and the only he got away with it because nobody realized it was him. But he just couldn't get back the conscience, his former conscience that he had. So I don't know. There are lots of interesting things to take into account. So we can't just say the evolutionary standpoint that based on a long period of abiogenesis, and then focusing on our species to thrive, we have an inherent and intrinsic duty to not be morally evil or morally bad to other creatures. So yeah, again, this is just my these are just my readings. So
cool.
Right.
So yeah, I was telling you about my from Christianity to Catholicism, right?
I'm sorry. Of course, I'm just
You're maximally self-centered. So
yeah. Ouch.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, this is fine. No, it's all right. Yeah. I'm sorry. Please continue though.
Please don't take any of my jokes seriously.
No,
especially that
one.
Especially that one. Not. But it's the question. I always use this. People get sick of hearing me say it, obviously, but it's to go from atheism to monotheism, it's all about metaphysics. To go from monotheism to Christianity, it's all about history, who is the Messiah. And to go from Christianity to the fullness of Christianity, it's all about authority. How can I know that this is the word of God, the Bible? How do I know it's this canon of scripture? There's no table of contents in the Bible. And even if there were, I could sit down right now and make my own quote unquote holy book with a table of contents saying these are all the books that are canonical, and believe me, this is straight from God's lips to my ears. And a lot of charlatans have built a religion that way, right? We talked, I think, last time about Joseph Smith, right? So it's easy to write a book and say this book is holy and God told me so, and don't deny it, or that's Satan deceiving you and you're going to hell. So that's the easiest thing in the world. So how do we know that God Almighty, who's infinite in every pure perfection and who is infallible, how do we know that he gave infallibility to his church? Well, we know it because if it's not the case, then we're back to that chaos that you talked about with an evil God, right? We're back to that chaos. If we don't have God himself giving a portion of his infallibility to his church, we're completely lost. And this is what Immanuel Kant reacted to and responded to.
Yeah.
And then he found himself in this fideism where we just have a shrugging of the shoulders. Oh, well, we can never know, so let's just have faith and hope that our faith is right and take the leap of faith and this sort of thing. That's more Kierkegaard, right? But you know, we can know with certainty that God exists, and we can know with moral certainty that Christianity is true, and we can know with moral certainty that Catholicism is the church that Christ built. And I mean, it's all about authority. It's all about authority. Once you're a Christian. Before you're a Christian, it's all about history. And before you're a monotheist, it's all about metaphysics, asking those tough questions. Who am I? How did I get here? What is going on? What is the world? Is the world real or an idea? And so on and so forth.
Right. So I guess I'm just trying to perceive how you calculate that to the Catholic Church or to Catholicism.
Well, how many Christian communities? This is the technical term for everything. Every denomination is a Christian community. Okay, how many Christian communities are claiming the 4 marks of the Church? That's one, holy, Catholic, and apostolic, and the 3 attributes: that it has authority, that it's infallible, and that it's indefectible. How many? There may be 2 churches, the Catholic and the Orthodox, right? And the Orthodox have a flattened hierarchy with no principle of unity. Every church does what it wants to do.
Of course, don't want to I'm not trying to skip over you or on purpose, but the Mormon Church as well, or Iglesia Ni Cristo. These Christian cults say that they are the restored Church of Christ, or they are the one true Church of Christ. But I guess this kind of goes back to your point, where both Orthodox and Catholic churches claim this. So
yeah, if the Mormons want to, for example, let's say that I met a Mormon and he's like, well, no, my Christian community, I don't know if they call themselves Christian, but
they do.
Okay.
Well, they're trying hard to become more Christian.
The Church of Jesus Christ
of Latter-day Saints.
So this is Christian in that loose sense.
There's Christ there. It's in the name. I don't know what's wrong with you. There's also a cult I remember called Teens for Christ. Or is it Teens? I think it's called Teens for Christ. It's where it's literally this. It's one of the most sickening things I've ever read about. It's literally just this. It's literally just this cult about having sex, and it's okay to masturbate and to have sex outside of marriage, as long as you are picturing Jesus when you do it.
Right. Well, the FLDS, you know about them, Warren Jeffs and all that, right?
Fundamentalist, yeah.
That was sick. No, I'm not saying that the adherents were all perverted, but the leadership was.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah. I'm not gonna confine every person to. I'm not going to find saying that every Catholic is the same, or every Catholic believes that it's okay for all those kids to have horrible things happen to them, and
there are probably going to be plenty of Mormons who make it to heaven and plenty of Catholics who don't. Whatever, that's not for us to decide. But
yeah, of course, yeah. I'd never make the claim of you're going to hell and stuff.
No,
because that's,
no. That's uncharitable, to put it mildly. But, if a Mormon were to say to me, well, we also claim the 4 marks and the 3 attributes, so gotcha, I would just say, well, you can't even start because your metaphysics is wrong. Your idea of God is so wrong that all your religion is a joke. I would never say this to a Mormon. But this is in my thoughts as I'm smiling and nodding. Right?
No, it's somewhat like a similar, thought process in my head. So, but how? Okay, so back to your point with the Orthodox and Catholic, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's just so obvious that there's no principle of unity. I mean, they don't even have ecumenical councils. They tried to have an ecumenical council recently, just didn't work, right? They just don't have. Yeah. They just don't have the principle of unity. Sorry, and I mean, I'm attracted to the music. I'm attracted to the art. I'm attracted to the liturgy. I'm attracted to all that. It means zero to me. It means zero. All that beauty, all that goodness, all the holiness, it means nothing without the principle of unity. Without the principle of unity. I need a pope. I need a pope. And I've got a pope, so I'm happy. So the rad trads and the sedevacantists who try to say, well, no, we haven't had a pope since 58 or 59 or whatever the hell it is. And some have different dates, like different popes were the last popes, right?
Right.
It's just a bunch of nonsense.
So why would you say we need a pope, I guess?
It's that principle of unity, right? It's that principle of unity where we have that unity where it's the church is one, holy, Catholic, and apostolic. And it's also that apostolicity, right? And, you know, the Orthodox do have that to a certain extent, but they've flattened the hierarchy. They've flattened it. And they give the Pope, believe it or not, they do give the Pope a supremacy of honor, just not a supremacy of jurisdiction. But it's all about the jurisdiction. Like I just finished reading canon law, and it puts it very nicely when it talks about the interplay between canon law, which is subject to change, and it's mostly discipline and these sorts of things, and the very life of the church, and how the church moves forward day to day with the liturgy, and with the, you know, we've got to sell this parish because there aren't enough people, Catholics in that community, or this parish was desecrated because of some Satanists broke in and took a dump on the altar, whatever. It's like there are all these things in canon law. That's not mentioned specifically. Do you need to go?
Oh, no. I was just saying my brother-in-law was just saying bye to me. So.
Ah, your famous brother-in-law, yeah.
Yeah, he's gone now. All right, yeah.
So, you know, there's an interplay. Like the church, what you need to understand is that the church is human and divine, just like Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is human and divine. The church is one flesh with Jesus Christ, and the church is human and divine.
There's a phrase for that, like about Jesus being like a human and divine nature. I forgot what it was called though. Like
the hypostatic union.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I keep forgetting.
Bingo.
Okay. There we go. Fun. All right. But I guess back to the point, like with Matthew 16, John 21, and like Luke 22, the ones that refer to Peter as the rock, or like Jesus referring to Peter as the rock of the church. I mean, it's obvious, or like it's evident that he had a sort of leadership role among the apostles, or like among the original among the original group.
The OGs.
So I guess the point is, like, how do you translate that into making into building up a church, or like, that refers to the one true church. I mean, the church by itself, like, has been repeatedly referred to as a people. I don't know if you see it that way. That's just,
it's the people of God. I mean, this is the emphasis that was given in Vatican II. It's the people of God. 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 And this was sort of a shift in emphasis, right? And it was to sort of broaden the scope and soften the triumphalism of the Catholic Church, and to welcome and to be, have that fresh approach to non-Catholics of all types, not only the Christians, but Muslims and Jews and everyone else, right? So Vatican II was making great pains to open things up without obviously corrupting the faith and the tradition, the capital T tradition. The small t traditions, of course, are changeable. So, there's a maxim from Vatican II that says, and I'm paraphrasing the way most people paraphrase, it's sort of a cliche paraphrase, but it's a nice way of putting it. In essentials, unity, but in non-essentials, a healthy diversity. But in all things, charity. So this is a summing up sort of the vibe of what Vatican II wanted to emphasize, the universal call to holiness, right? And that outreach, spreading the good news, getting people baptized.
Spreading the gospel.
And so that's what's all. Are you taking notes?
Well, I feel like, if I want to read more into some of these points, like,
That's cool.
it's just good to keep in mind so that I don't
And
forget.
God said, David Ross shall be my prophet. Okay, write this down. Write this down. This is good stuff here.
Okay.
Okay, I'm kidding.
All right.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Ready, great. David Ross shall
be my holy prophet.
Holy prophet.
Coolest dude I ever created.
Coolest dude.
Put that in Old English. Sounds better though. It sounds better.
Okay. Okay, so in old perfect King James translated English.
It sounds better in Sanskrit. So if you could write it down in Sanskrit, that would be
good. The Ross of David is it a fool?
Isn't a fool?
Is et a fool?
Oh,
I'm making stuff up on the spot. No, I'm not making stuff up. This is divine.
Right. This is the brand new tradition, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna look back on their notes like in 100 years ago, like what? So who was this guy?
These are going to be the new golden plates.
David, and his second, his two IC.
Oh wait, I cannot forget. Like the linchpin of all points. And so it came to pass.
But don't forget the scribe, that cute little scribe, Sid.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
Write it down. Sid. He was okay. He was just okay.
This is Sid writing on his behalf. He is not altering any of these words in any way.
Yeah.
These are all the words of David Ross.
And don't forget to lose this paper and then
just toss it away when I'm finally done.
Bury it.
Great. Okay. So then this served no purpose. I'll just leave it for someone to
send all your donations to post office box, whatever.
Okay. Okay. So I'll read up more on this. I wanted to come back to this point that we barely grazed over in the last time we met, which is the immaculate, immaculate conception of Mary, I guess, or the fact that Mary herself was immaculate, or like she was like she was not born
in original sin. She was born spotless.
Mm-hmm.
You can talk.
I literally told him that I was gonna be in the room for like 2 hours. Anyways, but yeah, that was just my dad. He was like, he asked if I was on a call.
Are you okay? You can continue?
Oh no, yeah, I can continue. He was just wondering what was going on. I couldn't see why it wasn't lucid, but anyway. Anyways.
We're gonna have to work him into our religion somehow. This mysterious man.
I'm just gonna work him in. It's like, hey, he was so desperate to meet you. Come on. Just grab him by the arm. He's like, come on, we're talking. Do you want to memorize the 400 dogmas with me? All right. Where did you get these, by the way? Like this entire list. Okay, so this is all like within the book, or like was it copied off the index?
I can't remember. I know it was difficult to find the list. I've had problems finding an electronic version of this, like an ebook version of it. I really want an ebook version of it, or a PDF version of this book.
Right. Yeah.
I've had a lot of problems. I haven't been able to find it. So what I have found is a couple of websites that talk about the book, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I found a website that put a list of the dogmas, if I'm not mistaken, or I may have been insane enough to type it up like 10 years ago, but I'm not sure.
Right.
Before I became the prophet.
before His Highness David Ross, or the true prophet and the true prophet of
next
God.
Next step, harem.
Oh boy.
Harem.
What's a harem again? I forgot.
Bunch of women.
Oh no, I thought there was like another term, like what then I don't know. I'm losing it. Okay.
So
was
where
that?
were we? The Immaculate Conception. Yeah, have you looked into it at all? You should read about it.
Well, concerning Mary, the fact that she
Conceived
herself
without
was
sin.
untouched, or like she remained a virgin throughout. Like she herself was not. I guess not. She herself was immaculately conceived,
Yeah.
and the
In
fact
Anna's
that.
womb.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
In the womb of her mother Anna.
Anna.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Saint Anne.
Is that wait? So is that
And her father, Mary's father, was Saint Joachim.
mm-hmm. Okay, let me read. Actually, I haven't seen much of this. Okay, so Saint Joe. I'm not gotten where these names were. Oh, okay. There's the apocryphal Gospel of James too. All right. I've not read much of that. I've barely started reading into the Book of Enoch.
I've never read it. I really want to read it.
I've never read Enoch. I just know it contain. It's a post-apocalyptic book that I know Jude refers to in his book. Okay, actually, yeah. While that point's being brought up, how do you reconcile when people like James and Jude, and there's an entire list of in Mark 6:3 about Jesus having brothers and sisters?
It's just a broad term, means close relative.
Would that go with the Greek as well, or where, how would that be suggested?
I don't know if it's if that's the case for Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I trust the church though, and the church tells me that mm-hmm. Jesus had close relatives that everyone referred mm-hmm. to as his brothers and sisters, but they were not mm-hmm. his brothers and sisters in the sense that we use the word. And mm-hmm. there are plenty of examples where people who have different parents, mm-hmm. for example, Jude or James or whoever it was right. like they name his right. parents. They name mm-hmm. his parents. They're not Jesus's mm-hmm. parents, and yet they still refer to him as the brother, right? Yeah. So we have this example of a non-brother in the strict sense being referred to as a brother in the broad sense.
Yeah, could you repeat that, about concerning James or
whoever it was? I forget who it was, James or Jude.
Let me see. I pulled it up. Okay, so it says, "Is this not the carpenter, the son of Mary, the brother of James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon, and are not his sisters here with us?" So
yeah. So if you look up those four guys that are named as brothers, mm-hmm. I don't know if some of them or all of them, but certainly some of them have parents who are explicitly named, and it's not. Mm-hmm. It's not Joseph and Mary.
Parents who are explicitly
named.
Look
up their parents. Look up their parents. Who they are.
Okay. Jude's parents. All right.
There are four names you name, so go through all four till you find which ones have the parents. Parents of the. Just look up parents of the brothers of the Lord.
James, the brother of Joseph's son by Joseph's first wife, not by Mary. Oh yeah, okay. I've heard about.
No, we don't believe in that. We do not believe in the first wife theory. No way.
Oh really?
No way.
Okay.
No way. No way.
Because I know there's two. Claims that the Roman Catholic Church make. I don't know if this is also a claim of the Roman Catholics, but there's the fact that Mary remained a virgin throughout her entire life.
Yeah, before,
and
during,
there's
and
the
after.
other one, which is these were conceived of. These are conceived from Joseph's first wife, but there's no. First of all, I don't see any biblical indication for that claim, and wouldn't he have alluded to one of his sons or one of his children or another wife especially. So I don't know. But so you said that's not a claim that that's not something you claim.
That's a heretical claim.
Okay.
That's a heretical claim. Yeah.
All right.
From the Catholic perspective.
Okay, so just okay. Maybe it's not from the Catholic. Maybe it's not from the Catholic Church. Maybe I must have missed. I mean, I said Catholic there, but I don't know how trustworthy it is. So again, that's why I'm cross-referencing with you.
Yeah. The tradition. It's not dogmatic, but the tradition is that Joseph was a consecrated virgin, as was Mary,
right.
consecrated to God as a virgin. Right. So a holy dedication to God. As you can read about all in the New Testament, the Old Testament, many people, holy people, making this dedication of their virginity. And this is not a dogma, but it is a tradition. And I think it's a pious belief too. I think I like to assume that because it's a nice thought.
I like to. I mean, I like with the Greek word Adolphos, which literally means brother, and in some other context it means something else, like I guess like a fellow believer through affection, which is like in which Paul uses often. So
yeah, you can also hear Paul referring to people as his son. This is a spiritual sonship and stuff like that. So it's
I get that. I mean,
it's fast and loose.
Yeah, it's just that the I don't know, the very context of Mark 6, especially when it openly says brother and sisters, like it just especially with Mary. I don't know. It just
well, that's the least of your worries. I mean, that's the least of your worries. Like all these little things that you can be, that doesn't seem to make sense. It doesn't make much sense to me. Well, you could start with the Trinity. If you want to get stuck on something as a stumbling stone, a stumbling block, start with the Trinity. It doesn't quite make sense to me. I think I'll reject the Trinity because it doesn't quite make sense to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You're on the fast track to
Yeah, the Trinity should be a central dogma. Like it should be like I mean it's people, of course, people will have their disagreements, like
Unitarians,
like Mormons, Unitarians, like Jews, Muslims. Muslims continuously are very accusatory of Christians for bringing up a Trinitarian doctrine, which is because they've got this constant, suggestion in their minds that Christians are that Trinitarians are pagans because it's three gods, it's three separate gods. Like that's never been the case. So it's not it has nothing to do with the claims of Arius or anything. That's a completely different and heretical doctrine. It's been considered heresy since then. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to point out to you, if you didn't already know it, excuse me, I've started reading this on my podcast and I've gotten about 40% through. So there's a lot of good stuff. If you don't want to pick up the book and read it, or if you don't want to buy the book and read it, you can actually listen to me read it, and you can listen to my little commentary. I don't do too much commentary, but I do a little bit. So you can actually expose yourself in a pretty casual, fun way just by listening to my reading of it. And I hope to complete that at some point. It's just got a lot of different projects on the go, and it's just a matter of not having enough time because I work full time. But it could be interesting for you to go through that, or buy the book and go through it. Probably
I see that, right?
It could be good.
So there's I mean, I'm sure, I mean, I get that, the whole, the Mary thing being immaculate is a minor doctrine, but it's a very bold claim to make.
Yeah, I'm going to read you just a little bit from this book.
Okay.
Mary's Immaculate Conception. Mary was conceived without stain of original sin. This is a de fide dogma, meaning it's the highest grade of certainty.
Yeah, okay. Of certainty, okay.
Certainty, yeah. It's the highest, because there's a hierarchy of certainty among the different grades of the dogmas.
I noticed, you had those little, in brackets, you had de fide, and then...
Right.
And then other words like... sent certa and
So the biblical arguments are here. We've got. It's too much for me to read. I'm seeing if I've highlighted anything as being particularly interesting. Oh, here we go. This is one of my favorite parts of this entire book, is this little phrase that I've highlighted here in the Dogma of the Immaculate Conception. It says, and I quote, "It must also be observed that the infallibility of the papal doctrinal decisions extends only to the dogma as such, and not to the reasons given as leading up to the dogma." This is very, very, very important for you to understand as a Christian, that the dogmas are protected, but the reasoning leading up to it, it's like, well, if you read in this Mark's gospel and this and that, and we therefore we conclude that, bang, okay? It's only the bang that's protected. All the argumentation and all of the reasoning is not protected. So that's why, for me personally, if you were to ask me, why do I believe in the Immaculate Conception? The primary reason is because it's a dogma of the church, and Christ and his church are one. And if God did not give infallibility to his church, we're lost. We're completely lost. We can never know anything. We can never know anything beyond the philosophical, metaphysical conclusions that we can draw, which will lead us to monotheism, but it won't bring us to Christianity. It won't bring us to Christianity. Christianity is a faith, and there are many, many faith-based beliefs that can't be arrived at. For example, the Trinity can never be arrived at using the pure reasoning, by the natural light of reason. So, the reason I believe in the Immaculate Conception, and the reason I believe that Jesus has 0 brothers and 0 sisters, biologically speaking, is because that's what Christ says. That's what Christ says is. That's what Christ says is.
Right. Yeah. Great.
So,
all right.
So there you go.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, when did the Catholic Church come to rise, or when did it first get
Pentecost? Pentecost, when the Holy Spirit came with the tongues of fire. That's the official birthday of the church, according to tradition. It's not a dogma. That's
okay.
That's
I know. I wouldn't have suggested it was a dogma. I'm just not sure, of the history behind the Catholic Church. Otherwise, other than the minor dogmas that I've read.
Well, if you look at the history of every Christian community, it's a fascinating exercise, right? Because it's like, who founded your church? Well, this guy, he was a Baptist, and he was Southern Baptist, and so okay, go to his church where he came from. Who founded the Southern Baptist Church? Well, it was this guy in 1798 or whatever. Okay, and what's his background? Well, he was from England, and he was a Puritan, and he belonged to this Christian community that was, and who founded that one? And you just go back and back and back, and you're going to end up at the Protestant so-called Reformation or the Revolution.
Right.
And so what are the main branches that came out of, and what did they come out of? What was the trunk? Was the trunk Orthodox, or was the trunk Catholic, or was the trunk Southern Baptist? I mean, it's not that hard to look at your history if you want to be honest with yourself and say, where does my Christian community come from? What's its history? Be honest, and you will end up with an apostolic trunk of that tree from which your Christian community branches. Period. Always, 100%. So it's not hard to end up in Catholicism if you're serious about looking into Christianity. What's the history of Christianity?
Right. Yeah. So I guess in short, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but it goes back to the credibility of the authority who's making the claims.
Well, I would love to meet a Christian that's a non-Catholic who would just even make an attempt to make an argument that your church is the one true church. I've never heard it. I've put this challenge to many Protestants, for example.
Yeah, because there's no necessity to make the claim that our church is the one true church, because I'm not going to say that Gateway is the true church, Pastor Robert Morris is the the prophet of God, or
No, that's
God's
me.
one true messenger. Yeah, so it's not we wouldn't arrive, we wouldn't arrive at that conclusion. Because like you said, I guess Catholic dogmas and the Protestant dogmas would have a different definition, but God, the church is a people the church is a people of God in the end. So the entire foundation of Christianity is like a relationship with Jesus Christ, and so as long as I see that with people, irrelevant of Catholicism or Protestants, Mormons, it's debatable, but I'm not gonna regardless, I'm still gonna talk to them and tell them that this is there's a heretical doctrine in this. You need to because I always tell people to do objective research behind everything that they claim, or everything that they're to do research behind all of their beliefs, because people grow up in Greece believing in pagan gods like Zeus and Poseidon as their true gods. And they have the utmost faith that they're I'm not done much. I'm not looked into those much, but they have faith that where they're going, or everything that they're doing is true, and it'll all lead up to something. Same goes with Hinduism, where people believe in reincarnation. So your good works will eventually. I think people who haven't done enough good works will be reincarnated as an animal. Those who have done good works will be reincarnated as a human being. I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm still reading about these continually more, and I try to keep an open mind with everything that I read. So
when you compare one Christian community with another, mm-hmm. The way to find out that the Catholic Church is the one true church is to just ask these different members of these different Christian communities, what is the authority by which you know that the canon is the canon, and what is the authority by which you interpret the books of the canon of scriptures. Mm-hmm. Okay, and they will invariably say it's the perspicuity of the text, and it's obvious, and God's guiding me, and I'm in the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit's in me, and da 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 da. And then you just turn to the guy next to him and say, and what do you say? And he'll say, yeah, same thing, I agree with him. Okay, then why do you disagree in your doctrine then? So either it's, like I said with this principle, in essentials, unity. In non-essentials, we can have a diversity. In all things charity. So we'd have to ask the question charitably, but we'd have to ask the question, do you have unity? If you don't have unity, is that diversity a healthy, normal diversity? Like really? You believe in the Trinity, you don't. Is that a healthy, normal, is that a trivial point?
Yeah, there's certain dogmas, or certain aspects
doctrines,
that are doctrines that I would definitely consider crucial.
Yeah.
Trinity being one of them. And then believing that, of course, Jesus becoming a man,
the two natures of Christ, the two wills of Christ, etc., etc. We've got so many. We've got so many. So who's going to decide this one's trivial, this one's non-trivial, this one's essential? They don't even agree about that. So it's all about authority and unity. It's about authority and unity, among other things. Like I said, we have the church, which is one, holy, Catholic, and apostolic, and the church has authority, it has infallibility, and it has indefectibility. Who's making all 7 claims? Only the Catholic Church, as far as I can tell.
But how do you, I guess, validate those claims?
Well, look at the teachings. Who is still teaching The same thing. Have you read the first century, second century, third century, fourth century, fifth century, sixth century, all the way up till today? All the writings, the Christian writings, have you read them all? Because they're all consistent with the Catholic Church's teachings. They're not consistent with Anglicanism. If you look at Anglicanism, for an example, it's a good example. Why? Because it's relatively recent, and because they started out oh so pious and devout and oh so Catholic. And then little by little by little, they introduced a little change of doctrine here, a little change of doctrine there. Right? So where are they on contraception? Where are they on divorce? Where are they on marriage? Where are they on any of these things? They've strayed. And every Christian denomination, except the Catholic Church, has strayed from that tradition, that apostolic tradition. So you need to be educated in the apostolic tradition. I've read works. I could pull down a book here. Pardon my shorts, if you see my shorts here.
You're good.
Go out and get yourself this 3-volume set of books. Can you
Faith of the Early Fathers. I've been reading into the early fathers, like Saint Augustine.
The author is William A. Jurgens. 3-volume set. Oops. Read it. First century, second century, third century, all the way up to the 8th century.
Yeah.
And it's just a sampling. It's just a sampling of their writings.
Right.
But you will never, ever, ever again ask me the silly question, how do you know you belong to the one true church? It's because this is the only church that hasn't caved on sexual morality. It's the only one that hasn't caved on the living magisterium that is throughout. And the primacy of Peter, not only in respect and dignity, the primacy of Peter in jurisdiction. It's clear. It's as clear as can possibly be, and there's no doubt about it. You just need to pick up some books and read, and you need to have your heart in the right place where you're not attached to your sin. So you're like, well, I enjoy masturbating, so I think I'm going to join a church that smiles on masturbation.
Yeah, no, of course, it can't just be, I 100% agree with that statement. Like, it can't just be like what makes you happy. It's never been about that. You can't just cherry pick and quote mine and have it adapt to what you want to be true. Like, we don't adapt the word of God we don't adjust the word of God to our beliefs. We adjust our beliefs to the word of God.
Absolutely.
So I agree with that. 100%.
Yep.
And any church or any belief system that goes against goes against goes against those suggestions, or teaches something that is completely different. I guess it would depend on the severity of which they go to. But yeah, I guess there's not much I can really expound on from there on. So
we could talk about Bertha if you want, if that's more your speed. It says in here, but it's fun. It's fun digging into the history of the church, right? I've seen. I can actually recommend something to you that might be entertaining for you and very educational, and fun and pretty light, which is the Coming Home Network with Marcus Grodi. I don't know if you've seen this. I think it's hosted on EWTN. But he just interviews converts from Protestantism, usually, into Catholicism. And it's always the same story. It's always the same story. It's always, I'll say it again, it's always the same story. It sounds boring, right? But it's not boring. It's not boring because it's all about authority. These people were Baptist ministers. They were pastors. They were Anglican bishops, whatever.
Right.
But they started looking at the question of authority, and before you know it, they're Catholic. Period. It's always the same story. So it's very entertaining. These people are very touching with how their love of truth put them in danger with their Christian community because they lost their income. They lost their friends. They lost, the love and affection and respect of the people in the community because, hey, what are you doing? We got a good thing going here. Why are you, what are you doing? Joining the whore of Babylon? Have you never heard of the pedophilia? Have you never heard of the corruption? Have you never heard of the greed? Have you never heard of the bad popes? You never heard, like,
yeah. So
have you seen the riches in the Vatican? They're more wealthy than any other state. Like, you know, pointing to all the dirty bathwater and forgetting that one crucial ingredient in that mucky bathwater, the pure, perfect, innocent baby Jesus. That's what these converts see. And they're like, hey, I'll sell everything to buy that pearl of great price. Bang. It's amazing.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I'll be sure to check out some of his stuff.
Are you aware of it?
Jurgens?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not heard the name before. So, and then there's the issue concerning, which is I guess the huge separating point between Protestants and Catholic. I'm sure you know where I'm going. It's James 2:26. Faith without works is dead. So
hey, my friend Lena is in the chat. I'm gonna be interviewing Lena very shortly.
Oh, fun. Okay.
So I'm gonna have to let you go. We will talk about that next time.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that works actually. Right.
We're gonna sorry to cut you off, but my next guest is ready. I'm doing like 3 interviews back to back today. I'm wrapping it up now. Okay. But I'm very excited to keep talking with you next time. And, you know, I think we covered some interesting points today. Would you agree?
We did, yeah. Big Bertha and...
please, color BB. Color BB.
I will never live this off. Yeah, I'll definitely look into those. I'll definitely look into those sources that you suggested to me. I'm not gonna see eye to eye with everything here.
Hey,
you know, of course.
Just keep an open mind. That's what I ask. Is just keep an open mind. Look, it makes no sense for anyone ever to pretend to believe something that they don't actually believe. It's ridiculous. It's the stupidest thing. And that's the biggest enemy of Jesus in his day were those religious hypocrites who just were whitewashed tombs, right? They go through the motions and just like trying to get ahead on the social ladder. You could do that.
Yeah.
You know,
but you referred to them like several times, like, you know, where like, you know, the whole point of, you know, the story of, what was it called? The prodigal son, that was that eventually veered on to talking to the Pharisees, or like, you know, trying to bring up the fact of, like, you know, how, you know, the Pharisees cared about, you know, their works, or cared about their you know, more about their place. Like if you've read about like if you actually read the prodigal son, I'm sure maybe you've noticed this, but there was no reconciliation with the older son. Here you see there's the here you see the younger son who asks for his possessions, or like asks for his riches, and then he lives a very hedonistic life, wasting it all in wild living. And then, you know, he comes back to the father, you know, in complete remorse, and, you know, and his father, I mean, like, obviously you have the loving bit, which is where, you know, his father was looking for him throughout the whole time. He put on the best robe for him. He cut the fattened calf and killed it for him. And the older son, who feels cheated about the fact that he's never gotten as much as, you know, land, or like, you know, he's been faithful to the father the whole time. This is just because this is, and then he starts complaining, and like we really see it coming out. And we also notice this, you know, I'm like reading the book of Job as well. I think Job might be one of my favorite books now. Because we see, because when we actually read this, we understand that this has more to do with Job not really having a proper, I guess, relationship. This was more about his, I guess you could, this was more about the expectations that he has from God. Like, all my riches are based on, you know, the good works that I do for God. and you know, I've seen like skeptics bring up the point of Job a lot and saying that God is morally wrong for doing all this to him, like, you know, killing all his children and stuff. And then, like, you know, that's why I started reading into these a lot more. And, you know, eisegesis is a big no-no. That's what I always say, and like what I tell my friends.
What do you say?
Eisegesis, like not exegesis, but like, you know, reading your own interpretations.
What's the word for that? Eisegesis?
Eisegesis, Eisegesis.
Okay.
I think that's
it's the opposite of exegesis.
Yep. And it's more common than we hear. It's more common than, like, you know, than we'd like to admit, because nobody likes to admit that they're reading their own interpretations.
It's called private judgment. It's called private judgment. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Every Protestant is a pope. He's his own pope. He or she is his own pope or papess.
I think that, well, I mean, there's some truth to that.
It's a good joke.
Yeah, I know. What I do respect about the Catholic Church is that they're ground. Like, it's not changing in any of its beliefs. Like, it's kept the same. It's kept the same and firm doctrines for years and years, for centuries. And so, like, that's what I respect. Like, you know, there's no denying, like, there's an acknowledgement from me on that side. In terms of, like, you know, what the actual dogmas are, yeah, we'll have some disagreements, of course. Like you said, with the fathers, I'll be reading those. So
cool.
I'll check those out if
Very
they're
cool.
in my college or in the library nearby, or if they have an online PDF, or if Big Bertha will give them to me. I don't know.
I'm going to let you go there, buddy. It's been fantastic. And, you know, I'll be thinking about you when I'm sinking my chops into those brownies, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, they're cold by now. So.
But they get that nice crust on them. They
do. Yeah, I'm me having made my own brownies from scratch. Like, I can definitely agree with that. But anyways, this was a lot of fun.
Was it more productive than last time? Would you say?
100%, yeah. Because
it's better than last time, but not as good and productive as the session we did in your car, right? That was the best.
Oh no, that was like unrivaled. Like, there was
Where were you? Like in the Himalayas? Like what?
Well, I was like right outside my workplace, so like I had literally, and I had to go to.
You work in Area 51? Like what the hell?
I work in. It might as well be Area 51, to be honest. Like it's a lab.
No phone reception. It's like
a lab with like all these like samples and stuff, which, you know.
Oh my God.
They'll say it's all COVID samples. I will say it's alien related things, but it's okay.
Oh, nasty stuff.
Yeah.
Lena's asking, was it bad audio quality? Yeah, the audio was bad. The video was bad. Sid's hair was bad, and now.
Oh, thanks. I'm so appreciative of that.
His wardrobe, his makeup, everything was off that day. What was it?
Huh?
It was just one of those days.
It was one of those days, plus I was a little rushed. That's why I skipped, and that's why I asked to change it to 6 p.m. instead of 6:30 p.m., at least here.
Yeah. What time zone are you in? I'm in Eastern.
I'm in the Central time.
It's only 1 hour difference.
Yeah.
Okay, no big deal.
Yeah, there is that. I guess what's Lena's story? I guess
we're gonna find out. Tune in 5 minutes and you'll find out. I don't know if Lena's a boy or a girl, because I think the name Lena is a girl's name, and I'm excited about that.
But that means so many other things in today's world.
Well, I don't want to get into that, but I have very few women. It's only 5 p.m. in California. Oh, it's a California girl. Oh my God, I'm going to get to interview a California girl.
Okay. Well, that is assuming that she is a girl.
Assuming. I'm making a lot of assumptions here. But
yeah.
It's just like 99% of my guests are guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird.
Hold on, wait.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm not a guy. Wait, what did you think I was going to do?
I thought you were whipping your clothes off, man. That's a different channel.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't quite get that memo. It was like
Omegle, is that what they call it? Omegle? Where you talk to
sorry?
people, random people, Omegle or something like that?
Omegle?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like randomly just randomly rip out your shirt. It's like, look at me.
Wait, I want to show you something.
Because I didn't have my headband on me, like because I usually
your hijab. Your hijab.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
What's your name? Sid
BB.
It's not very original, but it's good. Listen, it's been great. We could go on for hours with the silly nonsense, but we're going to cut it short. Okay? Yeah. And we'll talk soon. Book another slot, come back, and we'll talk about, we'll go in depth on Jesus' brothers. I'll shore up my arguments on that. And the Immaculate Conception. We'll talk about other stuff, okay? Take good care.
You're not gonna put brownies before me again, are you?
I won't, I promise.
All right.
It'll be a Black Forest cake next time.
All right, I'm out.
All right, take care, my friend.
Yeah, God bless
you. Bye.
Bye.